This is Michael Popak. Legal AF starts spreading the news. New York, New York, right after Rudy Giuliani sang that song at his 80th birthday party, being hosted by his political consultant, Carolyn Wren, and all around MAGA. He got served at the party by the Arizona Attorney General's office with his criminal summons for his felony forgery account in the indictment in Arizona for being a participant in the conspiracy for fake electors. Maybe Here's an interesting pointer. I won't even have to put it on Patreon. Don't taunt the Attorney General with a tweet, with an X posting, we'll put it up here, that basically says, come and get me right before your party. A party that was basically advertised in the New York Post, which has become like a marketing outlet for MAGA, in which they wrote an entire article the day before the party, not only about Rudy Giuliani's party, where it was going to be, who was hosting it in Palm Beach County, and Carolyn Wren, but his Amazon gift registry. I was going to do a hot take just on the gift registry, which these are the items, and I think some of these are still available, people, if you'd like to donate to his 80th birthday party. And this is a person that's in bankruptcy, that says he barely has the clothes on his back, although he spends $120,000 a month in his personal expenses. Says he only has $5,000 in his bank account, and a couple of credit cards, and he wants now people to give to him a razor, electric razor, ceiling paint. He needs paint for his ceiling, and he put that on his gift registry. And get this, a Shure microphone. No, I'm not doing an ad for my microphone. He's a wannabe podcaster. He wants a Shure microphone, cologne, ceiling paint, a razor, a Shure microphone. Apparently, he didn't put on the list a criminal summons being served by the Arizona Attorney General. The report from people in the room, there were like 100 people in this home for Carolyn Wren in Lake Clark Shores, which is in South Palm Beach County, was that they were crying. People were crying when he was served. And Carolyn Wren posted, "Don't they have anything better to do but then to serve America's mayor? Those evil Democrats." I don't know. Your client, Caroline, has been indicted twice, has lost his law license in two different places, D.C. and in New York, and is part of a criminal conspiracy. I don't think that covers him with a lot of glory and lets him avoid service. And if you're going to avoid service and have a hearing scheduled for next week in Arizona by the presiding criminal court judge for contempt, maybe you shouldn't I'm going to do my version of it. You can't get me in social media posts. That's not a good idea, because all that's going to do is fire up civil servants and people that serve our democracy. And they're going to go knock on the door of Carolyn Wren, where it's been advertised. And they're going to serve him right after, apparently, he sang New York, New York, and Happy Birthday was sung. So listen, I think they should be given credit. The investigators, they waited until the end of the party. They waited till after he blew out his birthday cake, right? He already got his gifts. And his gift, they didn't seize his ceiling paint or his microphone or his razor. They let him keep that and the shirt on his back. And we're supposed to do boo-hoo for Rudy Giuliani because he not only didn't arrange like a man, like a person with cojones to get himself served in a way that was dignified. They don't want to do anything that's dignified, MAGA. Everything's got to be drawn out. Everything's got to be a political ad. Everything's got to be a witch hunt, and I'm being persecuted. He was the U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, after the Attorney General, probably the most illustrious position in the Department of Justice at one time. He was also the mayor of the city of New York at one time. And this is now what he's reduced to on his 80th birthday party. Dodging service for a second indictment, not the first indictment, second indictment of Rudy Giuliani. He was almost indicted 3 times. Jack Smith in his DC election interference case just barely avoided indicting him for now. Statute of limitations hasn't run. He's listed as an unindicted co-conspirator along with Donald Trump and 4 others. He could still be indicted by the special counsel. And if Trump doesn't win in November, which is highly unlikely, but it's highly unlikely that he wins. If he wins, I guess Giuliani is trying to, he's doing it part to try out for a pardon. They're all doing that. You know who else was at the party apparently? Roger Stone. Here's a social media post in which Roger Stone says, "Happy birthday, Rudy." This episode of Legal AF is brought to you by Manacora Honey, also known as the honey with superpowers. Let me share something sweet with you. And I mean really sweet. It's something that's become a staple in my routine, and I think you're gonna love it. I'm talking about Manacora Honey. When I say honey, you might be picturing those bear-shaped bottles at the supermarket. But that's not what this is. Manacora Honey is single origin, rich, creamy, and the most delicious honey you've ever had. It's supercharged with unique antioxidants and prebiotics and has 3 times more than your average honey. Manacora Honey supports immunity, aids digestion, boosts energy, and helps balance inflammation. It's a game changer, and all you need is 1 to 3 teaspoons a day. On top of that, Manacora Honey has a natural antibacterial compound called MGO, only found in Manuka honey. So if you're looking for something simple and delicious to add to your wellness routine, we found your new healthy habit. Now it's easier than ever to try Manacora Honey with the starter kit. Just head to manacora.com/legalaf to get $25 off. The starter kit comes with an MGO 850 plus Manuka honey, 5 honey travel sticks, a wooden spoon, plus a guidebook. Now, I love the jar and squeeze bottle, but the extra pack of compostable honey sticks is perfect for whenever you're on the go. You can bring them with you when you're traveling or need a quick snack running errands. And they are the perfect energy boost if you're out for a run or at the gym. That's manukora.com/legalaf to get $25 off your starter kit. This is the ultimate honey indulge. And try some honey with superpowers from Manacora. Manacora is incredible, and I'm so thankful they're a partner of the show. I look forward to Manacora every morning. Make sure you click the link in our description or head to manacora.com/legalaf and try some today. You know, again, if you want to dodge service, there's ways to do it. You know, I've had difficulty serving some people with summonses or search or subpoenas or different types of things. There's ways to do it. You eventually have to, get a person in a van with a box of donuts and a carton of cigarettes and have them sit on the person until they finally surface. And then boom, then you serve him. It happens. It's like Sipowicz from NYPD Blue. You put him in a van, he sits there with his 8-track tape player, and waits for the person to pop out, and then boom, served. But, it's just mind-boggling. They do it on purpose. Let's just call it for what it is. It's not that Rudy really thought he could dodge service or that he'd have a good explanation next week for the contempt hearing or the order to show cause hearing for why he's not accepting service. He was just going to stretch this thing out as long as it was possible. And then when he finally got served, act like he'd been crucified, right? And he had the stigmata of MAGA on him. I haven't done a thing. I'm just a semi-retired Florida man. Come on. It's not just people that watch this network, although it's definitely the people that watch this network that know you are full of it. But, I just, the Roger Stones of the world, the people like Rudy Giuliani and Roger Stone and Steve Bannon, who are either indicted and or going to prison. I mean, Steve Bannon's about to serve 4 months. Peter Navarro is serving 4 months for serving that president. The rest are hoping for pardons. That's where they're at right now. Mike Flynn got one. Paul Manafort got one. Doesn't solve a lot of their problems. Doesn't solve their state prosecutions in Georgia, for instance, where Rudy is also prosecuted. It doesn't stop him from being prosecuted, convicted, or serving time in Arizona for his role in the fake elector scheme. And if he thinks Arizona is his only problems for Rudy and the others, it's not. Arizona broke the ceiling for the attorney generals by indicting not just the fake electors. There's been other states that have indicted fake electors or have worked out resolutions with them, but it's the first state to indict, Meadows and Jenna Ellis and Giuliani all over again. Meadows for the first time. Mark Meadows skated by in Georgia. We were all shaking our head. I'm sorry, he got indicted in Georgia, but he skated by in the DC election interference case. We thought he was a cooperating witness, but he's getting indicted by all the states. And Michigan and Nevada are right behind them with their attorney generals. Yeah, the MAGA will say, it's Democratic attorney generals. I don't know. When I grew up and I went to law school, attorney generals were not political. Attorney generals may have been elected on a ticket, but they're the chief law enforcement officer of the state. They got a job to do. Elections were interfered with by MAGA in those states, or attempted to. And there's a price to pay for that, and we're watching the price. So we'll continue to watch it all on the MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF. If you like stories like this one at the intersection of law and politics, you'll know why we call the podcast Legal AF. Join us on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I co-anchor the show on Wednesdays with Karen Friedman Agnifilo, on Saturdays with my co-founder, Ben Meiselas, and then on hot takes like this one, I don't know, about every hour, right here, exclusively on the MeidasTouch Network. We also set up a new Patreon for Legal AF people who want to learn more about the law at the intersection of law and politics. And we do drill downs, teachable moments, Professor Ben's Popak Talks, where we break down civil rights, constitutional cases, whatever's happening at the Supreme Court, procedural issues, civil law versus criminal law, and everything else. And we do it for the non-lawyer, but we have plenty, I know for a fact, because I've met them, there's plenty of lawyers who either practice litigation or don't, who find our work also enjoyable. And we appreciate you being part of our audience. We know you're kind of a small part, but you're sort of leaning into the politics side more than the law side. But we're thankful that you're here as well. And we sort of gear the patreon.com/legalaf, patreon.com/legalaf, for both audiences, and try to educate without, of course, talking down to our audience about law. So you can join us there. I think the entry-level membership is about the cost of a cup and a half of coffee a month, and you'll be getting a lot of exclusive content right there. So until my next hot take, until my next Legal AF, until my next Patreon exclusive content, and leave me a comment and a thumbs up here. It really does help with the algorithms and keeps us on the air. This is Michael Popak reporting. Heary, heary, Legal AF Law Breakdown is now in session. Go beyond the headlines and get a deep dive into the important legal concepts you need to know, and we discuss every day on Legal AF. Exclusive content you won't find anywhere else, all for the price of a couple of cups of coffee. Join us at patreon.com/legalaf. That's patreon.com/legalaf.